All right. So before we get started, I wanted to take just a moment to go over a few important things about how we'll work together. So this
Mhm.
is part of what we call the informed consent, which just basically means making sure that you know what to expect from our sessions and also the helping process. So everything that we talk about here is completely confidential, except of course in situations where I'm required to report. And of course, those would be areas of harm to yourself, others, or a child. So my goal is to provide a safe and supportive space for you and to share whatever's on your mind. Do you have any questions so far?
I do not.
Okay, so the way we'll kind of work together follows a process. We'll spend some time together understanding kind of what's bringing you here, kind of identifying your concerns that you want to focus on, and then we'll explore some goals together that we can try to achieve through our counseling sessions. And then from there, we'll talk through ways to work towards the goals, and I'll support you with strategies and insights along the way. And at every step, of course, this is a collaborative process. So I want, your input along with my input, and we'll work on this together. And just remember that you're always in control of what we discuss and where we go from here, okay? Does all of this make sense?
It does.
All right. Do you have any questions before we start?
I do not.
All right. So I'm really, really glad that you came today. I know that you probably have a lot on your mind. So can you just kind of tell me what's going on?
Well, I'm a senior just struggling with financial problems. I didn't get accepted for financial aid. My parents have always dreamed of me going to college, but now we're kind of in a situation where we're just not sure how we're going to afford it financially. So we're just stuck on what to do next.
Okay, that sounds really tough. I can see why you're feeling frustrated and really overwhelmed. It sounds like you've worked really hard to get to this point, and now it feels like you've just kind of hit a roadblock.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I always thought that I'd go to college. Um, I've done everything that I was supposed to do, and now I feel like I just can't go.
That sounds incredibly frustrating. So I can hear how much this means to you. What does college represent for you? What is it about college that's so important to you?
It's everything to me. It's my way out. It's for a better lifestyle than what my family has. I don't want to struggle like they have before, but now I feel like I'm in the same cycle.
Okay, I totally hear you on that. It's not just about school, it's about creating a future that's different from what you've known. That's a
Ex-
huge goal. And it makes sense why this is weighing on you. So I know that the news kind of hit you, it sounds like it hit you kind of hard. How have you been handling everything since you found out about the financial aid and stuff?
Honestly, not so well. I feel like I've been shutting down more, and I don't even want to talk about it because I'm just not sure what to even do.
That makes sense. When something this big feels uncertain, it can be overwhelming to even think about it. Have you been able to talk to anyone in your family, maybe a close friend about it?
Not really. My mom knows about it, but she doesn't really have any answers to it. She just said we'll figure something out, but I'm not really sure what she means by that.
Well, it sounds like she really wants to assure you, but you're looking for something more concrete, maybe like actual steps you can take.
Exactly. That's exactly how I feel. I don't want to just hope on something that it will work out. I want to know what I can do now for my future.
Well, it sounds like you're really determined, and I know this setback is making you, it sounds like it's making you feel like you're stuck. So I want to kind of take a step back and let's look at some times when you faced some big challenges before. Have you ever had to figure something out when you didn't know what to do?
Yeah, there's actually been plenty of times. My family has never had much, so I've always had to find like stuff out on my own way, which has been hard.
That really sounds, it sounds hard, but it also shows me a lot about your resilience. So it sounds like you've already overcome some tough situations before, and that same determination is really what what I think would be a great strength right now that you have. If we looked at the situation, as it's something to be solved, what would be the first thing that you would want to do?
I guess I have to look into my options, but I'm honestly not even sure where to start.
Okay, so I like to hear that you want to look into some options. So let's think about not finding all of the answers or anything right now. We just need to start figuring out what steps are available. Okay.
Mhm.
Um, so let's think about some options together. Okay. First, are there any scholarships out there that you've kind of looked into? Tell me about the scholarship area.
I've heard people talk about them, but I'm just not sure like how to even find them. They've never really given me much information on them.
Okay. So that's understandable. There's, a lot of different places to look, tons of different places to look. So would it be helpful if we found maybe a few scholarship resources together today?
That would be such a great help.
Okay. So another option that we can just kind of sit down and we can go through some different scholarships. So some of the things that um, I do kind of want to talk about is what is it that you are wanting to go to college for?
Um, I'm not sure, but I know that I've always pictured going to university rather than a community college.
Okay, so let me ask about the community college. I hear you talking about that. To save money at first, is that something that would be an option or and then transferring to a university later? Have you thought about that?
When you put it that way, I guess it makes sense. Because at least I'd still be working towards my degree. But again, I've just never known any other route than going to a university.
Okay, I get that. I hear a lot of students, they kind of feel that way. They really want to start out at a big university, and starting out at community college doesn't always mean that you'd be giving up on your dream. It just means taking a different route to get there. What are your thoughts really like if we really thought about community college, what are your real like thoughts on just the possibility?
I hadn't really thought about it in that aspect. Um, I just feel like if I didn't go to a university right away, I'm failing somehow.
Okay. In what ways do you think that you'd be failing?
Um, just because everyone always talks about the universities and not, so much the community colleges. So I know I'm a smart girl who can get to a university, but it's just a financial problem right now.
Okay, so again, all of that is making sense. So I want to kind of reframe some of the ways that we're thinking, and I want to think about reaching your goals. So I hear you keep talking about your goal and how you want to go to a university, and there's really multiple ways to actually reach that. Um, and this could actually be an an easier way to kind of get your route and to make college more affordable by, at least taking into consideration maybe that community college.
Yeah, I guess like talking through the options might help me a little bit. As well as like looking at this different scholarships could also help out.
All right. So we talked a little bit about the community college. Now let's talk about some more of those scholarship areas that we can kind of look into. So tell me again what degree you wanted to pursue.
Criminal justice.
Okay, criminal justice. Okay. And what was your university? What was your goal in university? Did you have a certain one picked out?
No, just to pursue my criminal justice bachelor's degree and then maybe go into like law enforcement in the future. I'm still not sure yet.
Okay. Have you ever done any kind of volunteer service or anything with local police stations or anything dealing with the degree that you want to go to?
Well, what really encouraged me was my high school class. There's a high school class that has to do with law enforcement, and that's what kind of got me interested in it. Um, And I remember they had told me that like taking that class could count towards an actual credit in college. So I was like, wow, that's awesome. But I forgot to ask my teacher if it's only for the community college or the university, since the university was always what I imagined
Mhm.
going to. But now I'm a little bit set back because of the financial issue.
Okay. So I hear that this teacher had kind of given you a little bit of maybe some information about different scholarships that would be available in that.
Hmm.
Okay, so if we can sit down and we'll write down the teacher's name and we can reach out to that teacher together. Is that
Oh,
something that you'd be willing to do?
yes, of course.
Okay. So we'll reach out to this teacher and we can just kind of see, like you were talking about, you weren't for sure if it was just community college or if it was university. So we
Mhm.
can definitely reach out to that teacher and we can see what scholarships they were talking about. And we can definitely look into those, okay? So I'm going to write that down as something that we're going to make sure that we do together, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so I hear you talking about at the college or the high school course that you had taken and that instructor. Have you ever been to any other places like, volunteering your time at the police station or just anything like that? Have you ever volunteered any time or anything like that?
Um, no, I know that the police department came to our high school once and kind of gave out flyers. But I was just busy at the time that
Okay.
I just didn't take it so serious. But now being a junior in high school, I understand that, it's right around the corner.
Hmm.
I need to focus my attention more on that.
Okay. So here's one thing that I'm hearing about that they actually gave out flyers, which tells me that there's probably some information that maybe we could find out and it could be tied to some sort of scholarships. So let's reach out together and we can see who that was that actually came and did that and passed out those flyers for you guys. And we can actually sit down together if that's something you're willing to do and we can reach out to the flyer.
Yes, yes, of course.
All right, so we need to reach out to them. All right. So I have that we're going to talk to your high school teacher, and then we're also going to reach out to whoever it was that came and kind of did that presentation that you remember. Um, as far as other scholarships, what are some ways that you think that we might could find maybe some places out there that do criminal justice?
Um, well, I would think maybe going to like the police station and asking there.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about, I know you said that you had a university in mind. Have you looked at any scholarships that that university offers?
I haven't, just because I never thought that a financial struggle would be a part of my college journey.
Okay. So I keep here, we have so many avenues that we need to reach out together to, okay? So we have the police station, we have the actual university themselves. Um, what are some other things, the university that you're wanting to go to? Have you really looked into like the work study programs or anything that this university offers?
Um, I have,
Okay.
but I'm just gonna be honest. I just coming from a struggling family,
Mhm.
my interpretation of going to college was my grades will just keep scrolling in and I would just get there. I never thought about how I would pay for it or anything like that. So when I did hear about work study, I was like, "Psh, those are for people who just need a job, Like I just never thought it was gonna be me. So now that I kind of do need money and I really want to attend college because I want to make a better future for myself, maybe that's something else that we can look into if it's not too much.
Okay. I like that. And I love hearing in your voice that you are willing to reach out to all of these things and try to figure this out. So I I I really like that about how, you're gonna, it sounds like you're really gonna pursue to do this. So the work study is definitely a good one that we can reach out to. However, before we get there though, I think we do need to look into some scholarships. Okay. So tell me a little bit more about your grade wise and things like that. What are your grades looking like and what are your classes targeted towards?
Um, well, like I said, I know I'm a smart girl, but I'm also in my high school era where I just kind of want to have fun and be with my friends and not so much take my classes serious right now.
Mhm.
Um, but again, I'm a junior and I know that all the teachers keep talking about college and doing everything that needs to be done and it's not going to be as simple and blah 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 what teachers say. So my grades have typically been A's.
Okay.
But the one where I'm really struggling is math. And I do remember a teacher saying that if I don't pass math, I'm going to have to take remedial and kind of back started. And I just didn't take her serious at the time. So I was like, nah, whatever. She's just an old lady talking, talking, talking. Um, but then when I saw my report card and I saw I had a C, I was like, whoa, I am taking this a little too far and I need to get back on it. So, for the most part, I'm good. And I know that.
Okay.
But I'm just a junior and I want to have fun. And I feel like sometimes school just gets in the way and I don't have time for my homework, especially math, where there's so many numbers and equations and how to remember this and all the steps and everything. I just don't have time for it. So, when I spoke to my mom about these problems, I just felt like she didn't listen
Okay.
because we've always struggled financially that she was just like, she's probably not even going to go to college. Um, so yeah, but I know myself and I know I will get back up to an A eventually. It's just going to take some time.
Okay, well, I like hearing the determination in your voice. I know you're talking about kind of the struggle with the grade right now, but I do hear you say that you're going to get it back up. So I like that. I like that shows more of your resilience that was very evident earlier today too. So that C in math. Tell me a little bit more. Is it strictly that you want to have fun with friends, or are there areas of some struggle in the math?
Well, math is just boring, right? Like I said, there's so many numbers.
Mhm.
The only numbers I want to remember are phone numbers of my friends. I don't want to remember how to add or multiply or divide or use all these pointless equations. Pi. Have you heard of pi? They talk about pi and I want to eat pie. But no, it's like 3.14 or 15. I don't even remember at this point because I don't pay attention. I'm thinking about the actual pie that I want to eat. So, when it comes to math, I've always been good, but coming into junior year, it got harder. And there was like calculus and again, all these equations, and then letters started getting involved. And I was like, whoa, I'm not in English anymore. I'm in math. And I was like, A and B and C. And I just didn't feel like it was for me. So that's when I kind of started slacking off when I realized that it was getting harder. Um, so that's when math just took a downfall. When the letters started coming in, all the equations started coming in, my friends just wanted to talk to me. And obviously, I'm going to talk to them back because, hello, we're friends. And I can't just not talk to them. And the teacher did call it to my attention, like, Annabelle, stop talking. But
Mhm.
I was like, "Ugh, when am I going to use this pie? All I know about pie is eating pie. I'm never going to use it in the real world." So that's when it just went downhill.
Downhill. Okay. So I'm hearing a couple things that I feel like we need to add some goals to. And I think math is going to be one of those goals.
Oh no.
Yes, yes. I know you only hear pie and you want to eat pie, but some of those numbers might be really important sometime. So
Okay.
here's what I want to ask you. Do you go to any tutorials or anything after school?
I don't.
Okay.
I've always kind of thought that's for the dumb kids, and that's just not me.
Of course
So
not, no.
never.
No, and you know what though? All of those kids that go to tutorials, it's really because they have a goal of doing something better. So it's not the dumb kids, but it's the kids that, are very resilient like you. And they want to push through and they want to do better in the things that they're doing. So when you think about tutorials, think about college. Because if we can connect that math to that college, you might think of it just a little bit different.
Wow. I actually never thought about it that way. I was like, those are the dumb kids. I don't want to sit with them. I don't want to talk to them. I don't want to associate myself with them, especially having my friends see me in there.
Mhm.
Biggest nightmare of my life.
Do any of your friends go to any tutorials?
I think one does,
Okay.
but she's just not telling our group of friends because I think she also is a little embarrassed about it.
Mm.
But I remember her telling me that she did also want to go to college. So it could be that she's just trying to better herself. Now that you mentioned it the way you did.
See, making those connections. So we need to talk to that friend too. Maybe she might even be going to the same tutorial.
Mm.
So here's what I want you to do, okay?
Mhm.
I want you to talk to that one friend and just find out some information about tutorials. It may not be the math that they're going to, but I want you to find out a little bit of information, okay? So when you talk to this friend, I want you to ask the friend when they go to tutorials, what days are tutorials. Okay, so that's going to be one of the first steps that I set that I want you to do on your own, and then we're going to work on the other stuff together. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so you're going to talk to your friend and find out the days that they go to tutorials. Okay. And then the other thing I want you to do, so I'm gonna give you two goals on your own, and then we're gonna work on the other ones, okay? So the other one that I want you to do is I wanted you to talk to your math teacher and find out what days they do tutorials.
Oh gosh, you want me to have a conversation with Miss Rodriguez?
I do. Yes. How do you feel about Miss Rodriguez?
She's cool,
Okay.
but when I said that I just wanted to eat pie and not learn about pie, I feel like she gave me that stare,
Mm.
that teachers do. So
Mhm.
I'm not too sure I'm on her good list right now, but if you're telling me that it could potentially help me towards covering maybe some of my financial costs if I get my grades up and stuff with those scholarships,
Mhm.
I'll be willing to talk to her for you.
Okay, good. It sounds like Miss Rodriguez just needs to hear why you thought it was as actual pie and not the number pie. So I know Miss Rodriguez. I used to teach with her a while back, and she's a really pretty cool lady.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So I want to kind of recap some of the things that we've talked about today. We talked about that we are going to do some scholarship searching together. Okay. So we're going to set some time out to do that. And we'll make probably the first, I don't know, 10 minutes of our next session. We'll go over some of the scholarship searching and stuff, and I'll do some of that in my time too. So I'm gonna research some scholarship areas for our next session so that we can kind of go over them. So a lot of times with scholarships, what they'll have is some requirements. Okay. So when I'm researching these, I'm going to list the different requirements that they might have. Some of them might have that you took a certain class as your senior year, your junior year, something like that. So those are going to be things that when we sit down, we can actually kind of use as like a checklist and see if you fit some of the scholarships. Okay. So I will take on a lot of that. I'm going to do some researching for you for some scholarships. Okay. The other thing is, of course, you're going to talk to your one friend about the tutorials, and then you're going to talk to Miss Rodriguez about when she offers tutorials. Okay. And when you're having that conversation with Miss Rodriguez, you might let her know that you're interested in tutorials. Would,
Okay.
would you feel comfortable telling her that whenever you have the conversation?
I would, but I think I need to explain the whole pie situation first and then kind of lead myself in towards me staying for tutorials.
I like that thought because it might just open up the airways just a little bit more with her too, okay? So definitely do that. Okay, so those are your two steps that you're going to work on independently, okay? And then I'm going to work on finding out some of those scholarships. And I am also going to talk to a couple of the other school counselors and just some different resources that I can kind of pull to hopefully maybe look at some financial aid resources as well. Okay. So I'm going to do that part as well. And then we will sit down and we'll kind of go through the scholarship criteria and see which ones fit. And then we'll kind of go from there on the scholarship area. Okay.
Mhm. Yes,
Right. Does all of that sound good?
it sounds like a plan to me.
Okay. All right. So remember, this is not the end of your college journey. It's just a bump in the road, and we've got some really good things lined out that we're going to do. Your part is on the grades. My part is on finding some resources for scholarships, and then we're going to come back together and we're going to get some things in place for you, okay? How does all that sound?
Perfect. You have opened up my eyes, especially with my friend. So great, great session today. You've really helped me out today.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. And just remember that you've got this because you're the one that's going to be going to that university at some point and we're this support that we're doing together, you pull your weight, I got my weight, and then we're going to get you where you need to be.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Right. Yeah, and we're going to sit down and talk about a time for the next session and then we'll have all of our goals to talk about whenever we get there, okay?
Okay.
All right, Annabelle. Thanks for our session. I'll see you next time.
Okay. Thank you.